What's up, everybody? Tanner here with another episode of the All You Can Hear podcast, episode 313, Summer of Fisting Punch 3, The Legend of Drunken Master. But before we start discussing the movie, I'm joined by my two Kung Fu co-hosts.
Karate kick Colt.
Wing style Wenzel. I can fly.
What?
Whoa.
Yeah.
That seems like an overpowered martial art. Could you imagine if modern day martial art was like, I let's say UFC, just for easy example. Everybody in the UFC was the same, except there was one fighter in the UFC who could fly.
And there was like another fighter that just had a gun built into his hand with unlimited bullets.
That kind of is what martial arts is missing, right? It's just like
Powers.
I guess superpowers. I guess PEDs kind of count, but also like nobody's doing like cool shit. Like, we're not even getting like megalobox stuff. It's like, oh, by the way, I have a robotic arm.
Yeah. Also, what are PEDs? Performance enhancing drugs.
Ah, okay.
Oh, I didn't realize you were actually asking. I thought you were rolling into a bit. Yeah, the steroids.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, what the fuck is that? Yeah.
Yeah, steroids. But yeah, today we're here. Summer of Fisting Punch 3. The Legend of
Bam.
Yeah, but yeah. Oh, okay. There we go. We have a little disclaimer at the top. So the Legend, and we didn't know this when we were putting this out. So this is actually Drunken Master 2, but the way it released in North America, it is called The Legend of Drunken Master. I feel like we all kind of comprehended the movie, and it doesn't really seem too tied to the first one outside of the characters. Like, it's not an overarching plot or anything.
No. So everywhere I went to when I was looking up some of the stuff about the movie, everybody said you don't have to watch the first one to know what's going on. It's so isolated from the first movie that you can just watch this outright, and that's completely fine.
Yeah, and I assume that's probably how it came out in North America. If this came out as The Legend of Drunken Master, I assume Drunken Master 1 probably wasn't available in North America, or at least got a release. I could be completely off base with that, but that seems
I don't know the exact details of it, but like I've been going through like different like forums and chat rooms because I've been trying to look some stuff up about this film, and its distribution is very weird. It's had a very terrible distribution in the American market, I should say.
I feel like just looking at the further information, I'm not going to say it, but like the box office is a lot lower than I expected.
So I'm going to guess before we get into it. So the first one, I didn't realize the first one and the second one came out so far apart. So the first Drunken Master came out in 1978.
Yo.
So I assume we probably definitely didn't get it here because Jackie Chan was not a like global phenom yet. Because this is like 7 years before Police Story. So I assume just nobody in North America cared about it to distribute it here.
What's interesting too is that people consider, and I didn't look too much into this because I saw this more as opinion. I don't want to say opinion based actually, because a lot of people say this, but a lot of like sources show that like Drunken Master 1 is considered Jackie Chan's like breakout into being like a huge star in Asia, at least. Yeah. So I should mention that as well. Oh God.
Yeah,
I had a point, and I can't remember. It had something to do also with now I remember. The version we watched, though, I should mention, is the full version.
Yes.
So, we'll talk about it later. But in the versions that are mostly distributed in North America, the ending has been cut. We watched it with the full, like with the actual ending, uncut. So we watched the uncut version. Yes, I should mention that.
I mean, I see why, but interesting.
Yeah.
And
You
Colt,
think
you said
Jackie
34.
Chan begged for that
I mean, probably.
to keep the ending in the full
Oh.
version? Like, please keep this in, please, please, please.
Okay. I'm not going to talk about it right now, but I will tell you, I did find some stuff out about the ending, and I'll talk about that when we get to it. But there are reasons why the ending was obviously cut and why the ending was even created. So, yeah. You'll find
And
out about
Colt,
that.
I will say before we like get into the actual movie, you said $34 million didn't seem like a lot. So $34 million in 1994 money is the equivalent of about $70 million.
Yeah.
And with a budget of $2 million, I mean, they made their money back.
Yeah, like, but also you have to realize, like, well, yeah.
I do realize, yeah.
Yeah,
I realize, yeah, as well.
Yeah, and like 2 million is about the equivalent of about 4.1 million. So I mean, it made like 1,800% its budget. So
Yeah.
I consider that a massive success.
Yeah. No, it was a successful movie. Definitely.
All right. Well, are we ready to get into it?
Yay!
All right. So, The Legend of Drunken Master, released in 1994, directed by Lau Kar-leung. It had a runtime of 1 hour and 42 minutes. The primary fighting style in it is the drunken kung fu, which we've kind of touched on in the last Summer Fisting. And as we said, the budget was $2 million, equivalent to about $4 million today. Made $34 million, which is the equivalent of about $70 million today. So again, huge like box office success. Because you also have to remember it's like 94, so this is before movies were making just like hundreds of $1 million all the time.
Yeah.
And Wenzel also should shout out Wenzel, created this doc. Incredibly helpful because at this point it's been what, 3 weeks since we watched this movie?
Yeah,
it's been a while.
So let me preface this by saying that we've been trying to record this episode for a while, but the weather on on the days that we tried to record it has been god awful, so we just can't record it.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, today the weather's not even that good either.
Yeah, we've gotten ahead of it today, but it is supposed to get
I was about to say it's
Yeah.
the sun is shining through my window.
Yeah.
I got like thunderstorm warnings off the fucking weather machine.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
Yeah, there's thunderstorms coming in, but it's like 4:30-ish.
God damn, why is it always on a fucking Sunday, man?
On a Sunday, exactly. Which also too, well, we'll get into it. It's just behind the scenes stuff. But also, okay. Notable characters in this film. You have Jackie Chan as Wong Fei-hung. You have Anita Mu, and again, if I mispronounce these names,
it might be Mui.
Yeah. As Miss Wong, who is his stepmother. Ti Lung as Wong Kei-ying, which is his father in the movie. Lau Kar-leung, which is the director of the film. He is Master Fu Wen-chi. Andy Lau as the counterintelligence officer. Felix Wong as Sang.
Yes.
Ken Lo as John. and Ho Sung Pak as Henry.
Yeah. Yeah, so I should mention also the preface of this is that it's been so long since we've seen this. Don't feel bad. I'm talking about the host here. Don't feel bad if you don't remember some of these characters. It's been so long. There's a lot of characters, and I'm confident these are the ones that we see the most.
Yeah.
But again, don't feel bad. Because also while I was looking people up, again, I hadn't seen this. So when I was looking people up, I was like, fuck, who are these people? I don't remember them in the movie.
Well, and also too, I mean, talking about a movie from 30 years ago at this point. And again, also
we watched it.
Yeah, we watched it before any of us were born. But between that and also the fact that it's been almost a month since we've watched it, like if it's like not outhandedly available, it's like the person in this movie probably was an important character, so or was maybe shown for like a scene or two.
Yeah, the only people that you listed that I don't remember is everyone below Lau Kar-leung.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
No, because those 4 characters right there are the characters I had the most problems with. Like, because so Andy Lau, the counterintelligence officer, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you who he is. He is the guy who, when they're on the train, he kind of helps him out a little bit, and he's kind of his Jackie Chan's friend throughout the film.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sang is also Jackie Chan's friend, but he's the guy who absolutely hates drunken boxing. But he joins forces with Jackie Chan, and he uses his fighting style. I can't remember what he teaches. It might just be Kung Fu. And then Ken Lo as John, he's the villain.
Yep.
And we
I
get the
forgot his name was John, but I figured this was the antagonist.
Yeah, his name is John, because the antagonists are English character, or yeah, they have English names, and he's the one that Jackie Chan fights at the end, and Henry is the other antagonist. He is
the
he's
buff
the guy
guy?
who oh god. Damn it. No, I don't think so. I think he's the guy who's kind of short, and he's the one who they send to the factory to wrangle in all the workers, and he kicks all of their asses.
Oh, that's in real life, isn't that he Jackie Chan's bodyguard?
No, the guy Ken Lo, he is Jackie Chan's bodyguard.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Henry might, or Ho Sung Pak might be, but when I was looking stuff up, Ken Lo, it was shown that he was a former bodyguard of Jackie Chan, and he got to be or he was put into this film to be his enemy.
I've never thought about it, but yeah, I imagine a lot of like the Jackie Chan stunt team probably either eventually get like or his bodyguard. I've never thought about that. First of all, I guess I've never thought about Jackie Chan needing a bodyguard because, like, and even at 70 years old, I'm Jackie Chan is probably the only person above the age of 45 on this planet I could confidently say could kick my ass.
Yeah, that's the thing. Oh, sorry, Colt. What were you saying?
I was gonna say, all these tough, like strongman movie stars from like the 80s, just any time frame that are older now, they do need bodyguards, sadly, because there's some idiots that think like, oh, they're super tough. I'm gonna kick his ass and impress everybody. Like a few years ago, we saw Arnold Schwarzenegger get drop kicked by a random dude, and he was just chilling in a fucking gym.
I mean, that's how you have to do it.
Yeah, just take them out when they're least expecting it.
Yeah, Cole, I don't know if you know this, but like after like lockdown and everything and everybody was at home for a few months, like the ability to communicate to people that you have not known for your entire life has died. That art has died. That's why we're seeing people throw shit at performers at concerts, and that's why you see people dropkick Arnold Schwarzenegger in a gym. It's just how it's like language. It constantly is evolving, and that is our next evolution, is just physical violence.
Oh, hell yeah. We evolved to devolve.
Yeah. I'm kind of with I'm with both of you, because it's completely understandable that they need bodyguards, but then also at the same time, I'm like Tanner, who, like, every time I see this guy who is just absolutely jacked having bodyguards like escort him, I'm like, man, that's so weird to see.
Yeah.
Especially too in like films where like you see these, especially when like you see these actors who are super jacked as well. They're just regular actors, but I mean they've probably gotten some training in like fighting or whatever. So it's like, oh man, those guys are strong. So like, why do they need bodyguards? I mean, of course they need bodyguards. So yeah.
Yeah. It makes total sense. And honestly, like, just to go to the most basic terms of it, because I mean, I think about it, a lot of your like higher paid UFC stars have like, they call it security detail. They don't call it bodyguard really anymore.
Yeah.
But they have it in the off chance like somebody was to come up with a lead pipe, somebody's going to get hit with it. But if your star gets, I mean, it's just kind of how it is. If your star gets hit with it, that could potentially cost you a lot of money. If your security guard, your security detail gets hit with it, it's not going to cost the estate as much money. I guess that's kind of how to think about it. So it does make total sense that Jackie Chan has bodyguards. Again, it's just something I don't think about because I'm like, yeah, he could kill you with his bare hands. But I mean, it makes total sense.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, because I mean, they can always hire another bodyguard, or that bodyguard can. I mean, he's not going to be in the movie or for whatever purpose. He's just there to, which his job is to guard body.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, and that's crazy to think too, with how much like Jackie Chan injures himself. It's like just get him a bodyguard throughout the entire all of his movies, just to take all of the hits that he does.
Yeah, I do love the idea of Jackie Chan being like, please protect me from attacks, and then like it cuts to the scene from Police Story where he just slides down 3 stories in the mall.
It's like, are you sure your worst enemy isn't you
Yourself?
Jackie?
It's just like, damn, he's the best at what he does. And it's like, what is that? Like, it's so funny that like the biggest, like probably international action star ever, it's just like half fucking jackass. I mean, I know we talked about it in Police Story last time. Half jackass and then half like martial artist. It's just really funny. He's like he could have totally just done something else, but then he's like, no, I have to jump from this building and land on concrete or it's not going to look good.
Yeah, he's like knocked out of breath on the ground, crying in pain. He's like, fuck, did that
breaks
look cool?
his ribs? Did we get the shot?
and then the guy's like, oh man, no, sorry, we forgot to turn on the camera.
Yeah, oh, the lens was on.
All right, I'll do it again.
He's already back on top of the building, completely healed.
Like,
yeah, Jackie Chan is such an auteur. He, has to be practical. Y'all ready for a little quick synopsis here?
Yeah, but before you say that, I should say too, whenever I was looking up synopses, I could have gone with the one on Letterboxd, but I was like, you know what? I found these 2 synopses that are so vague. I'm gonna put them together, and that's what we're gonna read. So,
oh
go
hell
ahead.
yeah!
Go
All
ahead.
Right. Coming from 2 synopses. From a land where honor and tradition reign comes the legend of a martial arts hero unlike any other, the Drunken Master, who can turn just one drink into devastation and humiliation for his enemies. His technique is fast, furious, and powerfully funny. And then also we have a young martial artist is caught between respecting his pacifist father's wishes or stopping a group of disrespectful foreigners from stealing precious artifacts. That one makes me think, oh man, Indiana Jones?
Yeah.
Because like I know they say they're artifacts in the movie, but when I think artifacts, I'm thinking Dial of Archimedes or whatever the fuck it was.
Ancient stuff.
Mean, you got it. It's the Dial of Archimedes. I mean, you could go the fucking the actual name, the Antikythera, but yeah.
Man. Could you imagine if Jackie Chan and Harrison Ford current day made a movie together, but it was like Indiana Jones? Like it was like one of those 90s crossovers. It was just like the adventures of Jackie Chan or Jackie Chan Adventures : My Adventure with Indiana Jones.
Sure.
Too old.
Somebody
dudes
give me
fucking
$300 million.
Harrison Ford's so fucking old. I am curious though.
Jackie Chan's old.
Not like Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford looks like he's gonna die at any second.
I'm just saying, I've never seen Jackie Chan crash a plane and get up.
That's true.
That's true.
And Harrison Ford's done it like 12 times.
He just did it the 13th while we're recording.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked.
He might do a 15th by Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, you just never know with his schedule. Like,
how many times he's gonna get it played?
Yeah, I'm just imagining like Harrison Ford having a Google calendar. It's kind of like our Google calendar. It's like Wednesday meeting with Hollywood exec, Thursday fly a plane, and it's just question mark. Or no, it's 3:30 fly a plane, 4:30 land question mark, or land TBA. Listen, we all love Harrison Ford and Indiana Jones, but this man does not need to pilot.
No,
he doesn't.
It is a hazard to both himself and others.
You know, it'd be funny too if somebody was like, why don't you guys take away his flying license? And like, we did.
He just keeps buying planes. When you have as much money as him, you can just buy the plane.
I don't think he's buying planes. He's just walking into the airport and just boarding the plane.
He's just taking a plane.
Could you imagine if like fuck? Could you imagine if like as like a crossover for a movie? Like you're on like a Southwest flight or something, and all of a sudden it's like over the speaker in the plane, it's like introducing our guest pilot for the day, and it just comes on as Harrison Ford being like, hey everybody, Harrison Ford here, and you're
Immediate
just
mass panic.
well, no, everybody's like cheering because like I don't know how widely available, like how many just regular people that aren't so internet build know that Harrison Ford is a serial plane crasher. But you're just the one guy on the plane where everybody's like, "Yo, my God, Harrison Ford's on the plane," and you're just that one guy's like, "Harrison Ford's on the plane,"
and you're like, where is he? And it's like he's in the captain's
yeah,
cabin.
he's he's flying this plane, and you're like, "I have to get off this plane."
just a few people are like, oh no, oh no, oh no.
Just like, no, this is not good. This is actively bad.
And then but also I just love the thought too of this old man, like you said, just breaking into the airport. Not even breaking in, just walking in the airport. Like, just not even the pilots aren't even in the airplane. He gets on it, and I would love to have like it's a skit in my head where there's like a camera in the cockpit, and you just see this old man just breathing heavily, like sweating, but like he's like prepping the plane to fly, and he's like, "All right, it's me, guys. It's Indiana Jones."
Yeah, well, if he introduced himself as Indiana Jones, even me, I'd be like, okay, this is fun.
It's me. I'm okay, everybody. If you're listening to this, it's me, Harrison Ford,
No,
famously known to be Indiana Jones.
Oh, okay, that's better.
Yeah, and then he flies the plane and crashes it. Sorry, this is more of a physical, like, visual bit in my head because I just see this old man breaking into a plane and sweating. That's what I think.
You say it's a visual bit. If only we had the budget to get a fucking Boeing for the bit.
Only if we had the budget to get a Boeing, Harrison Ford, and probably what, like 70 people.
If it's a 747, like 300.
We'll just do 70. We're only doing one shot of the passengers. It's just all of them panicking.
It'll just be like me and Wenzel green screened over and over again.
Yeah, there's some Colts screaming. There's some Wenzels also screaming. One Colt's like I don't know what the big deal is, and then one Wenzel is just crying.
But the Colt that says I don't know what the big deal is wearing like a Raiders of the Lost Ark t-shirt.
Yeah.
Okay, well that. Should we talk about the movie now?
Oh yeah, I guess.
Yeah, we can.
So Wenzel, as he likes to do, has a couple of little questions here for us. So I'm going to ask, what was y'all's favorite fight scene? If y'all don't have one on the top of your head, I already know mine.
I already have one.
I already have one too.
Oh, okay. Well, Colt, go for
actually.
it.
Much like the first movie we covered, it's the final scene. I just really like the final fight where Jackie Chan is getting his drink on, alcoholic issues, hashtag, and just having super abilities thanks to alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a real thing. Like, I've seen Patrick display some of the greatest athletic feats of our time, but it's after like 4 Angry Orchards.
Yeah, all right.
I guess I know where Pat trained.
So I should also say too, that last fight was also one of my favorites. That's also where we get really Ken Lo as John. That's where he really shines too, because that's where we get his awesome, like, he does a split in the air to show off his kick.
Yeah,
of like him kicking and how good he is, and that actually is really fun because when I was looking stuff up, he's actually a Taekwondo champion, and the villain from the last film was also really, like, he was mostly a kicker. So for this film, the antagonist also had to be a kicker as well, and I think he really fills those shoes well as well. Well. I say well a lot. Yeah, no, it's sick. And then should also mention too, there's that scene where Jackie Chan falls backward onto a bed of hot coals and has to quickly get off. That was real, and he had to do that, and he did that twice. He didn't have to, but he did it twice.
Yeah, I want to say, like, during the credits, it shows him do like his first take of it.
Yeah.
and then it like kind of shows him talking to the camera guys, and then it shows it again. I didn't realize it was 2 separate takes, though. I just assumed it was the same take twice.
Yeah. And there's even we even get a shot of his hands afterward that they're very clearly burned.
Yeah.
Yeah, that just
the
didn't
skin's
seem
come
worth
off.
it, Jackie. That's crazy.
It didn't. It didn't, Jackie. Why
I
you
mean,
do that?
It is worth it.
It was a cool scene. I will say
It was a
that.
cool scene. I was a cool
Being a true auteur, like I would equate this to like Steve-O putting a bunch of bees on his penis. Like, is it necessary? No.
I feel like that's safer.
You think putting a bunch of bees on your penis is safer than just falling on coal?
He didn't come out hurt. He just had bees on his wee-wee.
I mean, he got stung a lot.
Yeah, but like stings can heal faster.
Yeah, I mean,
you're more likely to die from bee stings to the penis than falling on hot coals.
Well, yeah, but that depends on.
Is he allergic? Yeah, I was gonna say if he's allergic.
No.
So no, he's not allergic.
Okay, I mean, if we're talking about pain,
burns.
I don't know. It would be close.
It'd be very close.
Like, but assuming how many stings you get, because like I don't know how many times y'all have been stung by like a bee or any sort of like actual stinging bug.
A good bit.
They hurt.
Yeah.
I have never been stung by a bug.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh,
and you're the one that's stung. Bug crazy.
Nope. Do not get me stung. I have not been stung by a bug. I'm on good terms with bugs.
Episode 314 of the All You Can Hear podcast. Wenzel gets stung by a wasp. That's not true. We've already recorded
Coyote
314.
Peterson.
So
let's try to get him on Coyote Peterson's channel and see if like we can get him bit by a bullet ant. Or stung by a fucking what are those giant desert hawk bugs that look terrifying?
I know
New Vegas.
I know what you're talking about. I don't remember the names of them.
Are you talking about I know the ones in New Vegas, the cazadors?
Yeah, the real version of the cazador. It's not that big, but it's big.
Yeah, I don't remember what it is actually. Yeah, no, I know you're very surprised since I am the bug guy, but yeah, I never been bit.
Yeah, I would definitely assume like stupid like kid Wenzel definitely would have got stung by a bug before.
No, I've been slashed by a cat though.
We all have,
and I've been bitten by lizards, of course.
No, obviously, which doesn't really hurt.
Nah,
no, it doesn't. It does not. Anyway, God, what the fuck was I gonna say?
What's your favorite fight scene, Wenzel?
Oh no, I already said the last night. No, I was gonna say though about the stings though. Now, to be fair, with the stings on the dick and then the burns on the hands, well, he got more than just on his hands, but like the burns on his body could actually potentially lead to like infections and stuff. Whereas the ones with the bees, like I mean, they sting you and you might get some bumps, but it wouldn't be too bad unless you're allergic. So
I will say you could get infection from bee stings without being allergic. Because I mean, they are incredibly itchy. So if you scratch too much, you would technically be opening your wounds, and you would be more prone to infection.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, they're pretty close. I'll say
it's pretty close. I will say, as somebody that I've never burnt my hands as bad as that, but I have put my hand on a stovetop before while it was on. And between that and like a bee sting, also depends what kind of bee it is. But I would say a bee sting hurts longer and has a higher peak, where a burn doesn't hurt as a burn like this doesn't hurt as long, but is more consistently painful. It's probably where I am at on it.
Wait, a burn like what Jackie Chan got?
Yeah.
No. He lost the skin. He lost the skin on his hands.
Yeah. I did on. I'm talking about like I've told the story about me putting my hand on the stovetop, right? When I was a kid.
No.
I don't know.
I've burnt like the whole like top layer of my palm of my hand like off. Like it eventually fell off.
Perfect hit, man.
No, I mean they're still there. I mean it was yeah.
That's insane. I do not agree with you at all. Burning is like the worst pain you can ever experience. So
I was gonna say I have a burn. I mean I have a scar on my arm from when I got burned working at a pizza place, like, and it's still there. And I still remember it. Every time I look at it, I still remember the feeling. It fucking hurts. Like I'm not gonna. I'm definitely not saying getting burned doesn't hurt. And I'm not saying that getting stung doesn't hurt either, because it very much does.
Yeah, I think we're actually all pretty much agreeing.
Yeah, kind of. Oh, but my other favorite fight scene though was when he was with the Master Fu Wenqi, when they were fighting in the building
and like the saloon thing.
Yeah, and then Jackie Chan gets a bunch of bamboo and like straps them together and starts hitting people with it and slicing people open.
Yeah, that shit looked like it hurt to handle. Like I was worrying about him cutting his hands on the bamboo.
Yeah, that was insane.
Yeah, that was my favorite fight of the movie. I like that even more than the final fight because it's like 11 minutes. It's like this huge set piece to like bridge us getting into like the final like climax of the film. And I mean, they destroyed this building. The stairs are destroyed. They're destroying all the tables, all the chairs. Pretty much the whole second level of it gets destroyed. And Jackie Chan does have like this. I mean, it's huge. I mean, it is thick. It is huge. And he uses it in so many creative ways too. Like there's just one part where he's holding it as if it's a staff, but like condenses it so it like opens in the middle and somebody punches through it and then he closes it and like rips it, like rips the guy he's fighting's like arm, and it just cuts you so much. And obviously he's like hitting the shit out of these people too. It's so sick. And then also like with the Master with his like fighting style, it's like it is so sick. I know like we're doing a bunch of movies, or we're doing 5 movies for Summer of Fisting, but I do find it hard not to compare this to Police Story because we did watch them back to back. They're also both led by Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan obviously had a huge influence of what both these movies became. Out of both movies, I think this is my overall favorite fighting scene. Like between those two movies, like this
is fair.
Like I like this one more than the mall scene in Police Story. It's just so it feels raw. It's incredible. I mean, it's absolutely insane. Probably one of my favorite like action set pieces ever.
Yeah, no, that's fair because it's a brutal scene. Oh man. I would probably have to agree with you just because Police Story overall is great, but like there's like this scene in the final fight scene are like really like what sticks out of this film too, I would say. So like I definitely could see that. And now that does get me into my other question of point of discussion too, with we both watched this back to back and like watching it after Police Story, like how do we feel too in terms of like of Jackie Chan in this after the onset of Police Story, and this also takes place after his Police Story. How do we feel about how his about him and about his bringing again his usual action comedy movement to this in a period piece like this, and also on the onset of Police Story? Like, does it? I mean, you probably already answered this when we were just talking, but does it compare? Does it match up to Police Story? How do we feel about that?
I feel like Police Story was a bigger, more ambitious like movie. Like it had so much going on there. It had so many moving parts. Like they built sets just to destroy them. And I'm sure they did here, like especially with that building that we just talked about where everything was fucking destroyed. That was just one building though. I feel like Police Story was just more ambitious in pretty much almost every way. But it's also very similar. So I will say the humor in Police Story, I did like that more.
Yeah.
Because there was some parts of this movie that could be deemed offensive. And I'm not talking about the most obvious one. I'm talking about like whenever he did get drunk a few times, like he was getting his ass beat by his fucking dad. Like,
yeah,
it just went on for so long. And like I don't know. I can't tell if it was supposed to be funny or not, just because of how long and like crazy it went for.
Yeah. So I'll go ahead and tell you from what I understand of, because I don't, from what I understand of director intent and audience intent, because or audience interpretation, it's very weird because I don't know too much about director intent, but I do know about audience interpretation, and it's so interesting how, well, not interesting, it's more like it's kind of like, okay, yeah, of course fuckers would say this because people automatically are like, oh well, it's a joke, it's supposed to be funny, and you're not supposed to take it seriously. That's how a lot of people who are like big fans of this film have treated a lot of the stuff, especially like that in here, is like, oh well, it's not meant to be disrespectful, it's not meant to be offensive, it's just meant to be a joke. And honestly, like, to when we see later, I think definitely like director intent and maybe even performer intent was supposed to be maybe kind of joking. Um, but there's some stuff too I'll tell you about later, again about the ending and about Jackie Chan, that I kind of changes a little bit. Definitely though, that scene was very like, I think maybe it was I think my opinion is I think it was supposed to be played off for gags, while also, well, no. Hold on. No, I don't think it was meant to be played off for gags. I think it was meant to be more for consequence, and then but also too with how maybe they were performing it, it could be construed as gag.
Yeah.
When it was meant to be, I think it was meant to be more of consequence, because this also brings me into another thing about that as well. But I want to go into what any more thoughts and what Tanner thinks as well before I get to that.
Yeah. So just touching on that for a second. Also, too, we do have to like we have like the foresight. We're able to view it with 2023 lenses. And this was 94, talking about that. But also this film was made for Hong Kong. So I mean, I couldn't tell you what the culture was like in mid 90s Hong Kong, what was found funny, what wasn't. I'm sure it wasn't the same as mid 90s North America, which is already not even remotely the same to 2023 North America. So it also is like sort of impossible to know exactly what they were going for unless like the director just comes out and says what the intent was, but that's a whole other discussion. As far as comparing this with Police Story, I mean we all gushed on Police Story last summer fisting. All loved it. I said it was probably one of my, like, just a first time watch, one of the best movies I've ever seen. I think Police Story is a better complete package than this. Like I said, this does have my favorite action piece of the two, but with Police Story, it feels like there is a lot more action, not as much dialogue, but what dialogue is in there, it's all played for humor, and the humor still works viewing it with the 2023 lens. Like, it's kind
Yeah.
of timeless. And also have to remember, Police Story came out in 85, so it's almost a whole decade older than Drunken Master. And on the flip side, Jackie Chan is a decade older during the filming of Drunken Master. So
Yeah.
like some of the, you're not, it's physically impossible to be able to do the same stuff at 40 than you're able to do at 30. Especially as such a like this level of shit. So I do think again, I don't think The Legend of Drunken Master by any means is a bad movie. I think it is actively a very good to great movie. But Police Story to me is just like the complete package. Like, if you would sit, 13-year-old Tanner, 21-year-old Tanner, 27-year-old Tanner, whatever, down and ask them, what does your perfect movie look like? I can't imagine anything cooler than action movie where there's a ton of fights, they destroy a ton of shit, and it's super funny. Like, I just can't imagine a movie more tailor-made for the last 15 years of me. than Police
Yeah.
Story.
Yeah. No, that's both of you are very much I think valid too, and I definitely agree with yeah, I definitely agree because I don't yeah, Police Story is definitely the in my opinion as well the better film, even though Drunken Master is a good film. But like thinking too about like okay, like you said, Tanner, he was much younger when he did Police Story, and I guess I just wanted to examine like okay, like how was he doing in this film a decade after shooting? I would say his masterpiece, his opus, uh, Police Story. Like, can it compare? Does he still hold up with his comedy, with his action? And he does for the most part. Yeah, so yeah, I definitely agree. Now, this brings me to my other point I was gonna say too about some controversy with this film and maybe some stuff that doesn't really age well. Should also bring up the part too where his stepmom is trying to protect Jackie Chan, and his dad also threatens to beat her, but then she
Ye-
says that she's pregnant and like will occasionally try to like self abort the baby, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's very weird. So that was kind of strange. But then also too the implications of drinking as well. That was a controversy also that I think can definitely be construed from this, but also too by that's something that Jackie Chan himself highlighted about the first Drunken Master, and this. So, that was something that really, Jackie Chan in his, I saw where I think it was in his biography talking about his life, and one of the things that he, after doing Drunken Master 1, he realized he didn't realize at the time, but he realized after that, like, he's like, "Oh, he's like, "Oh, man, like, I hope people don't think that I'm promoting drinking to excessive amounts to the point where, like, you might think that you can be unstoppable or a superhero or, like, just fight."
Mhm.
So he got really worried about that. So for Drunken Master 2, he brought a lot more, like, creative control, and part of that was trying to show, like, okay, if you're going to drink a lot, um, I'm going to show you the consequences of that. So that and how like that only not only brings suffering to yourself, but brings suffering to the your family and your friends. So that's where he kind of shows that too with his dad beating him. Uh
Yeah.
so that's very much like Jackie Chan trying to be like, well, this is what happens when you drink too much. You hurt your family, but then at the same time, it's like, well, I mean, should your dad be hitting you? Like that's not I don't think that's a valid response, but also too, like with the director, like was it really meant to like should you have shown this like for gags? Should you have been more serious? Like what's going on here? And it's kind of tough to really understand. It's more conflicted, I think, with trying to understand what there's a conflict. Wow, I cannot say this sentence. There's 2 points of view here that I think come from the director and from Jackie Chan, and I think when they put together, it just seems like a really fucked up, terrible scene, and that's really all it comes down to, in my opinion. Um, and then, should I just go into the ending?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I feel like especially talking about this, like I feel like you can't talk about that without talking about the ending because again, I could see I could see how both these endings or both of these scenes were played probably to be more humorous in the 90s and also they just don't work now. I could at least kind of understand the first scene that you just discussed where because it in that scene it actively paints his dad as being like this bad like it was like you're not what you're doing is bad. It's not like well the wife deserved it. His wife deserved to get hit and stuff. So I can at least kind of see how it can be construed in a lot of different ways. The final scene of the film, there's no construing outside of they probably thought it was funny in the 90s. It's just
Yeah.
not funny now. And if honestly, if you were somebody, that was functional of, human compassion. You could also see how the final scene wasn't funny in the 90s, but again, as the world has evolved, like it just doesn't play great in 2023.
Yeah. So the ending scene of this movie is after the big fight. Jackie Chan is feeling the effects of alcohol, but the alcohol that he drank to fight his enemy that he had to drink because he had no other choice was industrial grade alcohol, which was actually insane. It was pretty funny. But what wasn't funny was that, okay, he was starting to feel the effects and the damage that the alcohol had done. At the very end, we get his family coming, or they're trying to show like the police commissioner or whoever, like, oh yeah, this is our hero, our son. And they're like, what is he doing? And it shows him and his brother's trying to teach him blind boxing, which is he's trying to hear for sounds and be able to detect and fight and stuff. But then his brother comes up and says, we're doing this, but I don't know if he says his name or my brother or whatever, Wong's a quack. And it immediately cuts and it shows Jackie Chan turning around and mimicking basically a disabled person.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And that's how the movie ends.
Yeah. It literally, like, the credit plays over a still shot of that. And I remember all of us looking at each other because it happens in the span of about 12 seconds, being like, what? Like, it was so shocking in the moment because, again, like, from that to credits is literally about 10 seconds.
And then Colt says, that movie loses half a star.
Yeah, Colt goes, that definitely affects my rating of it.
That affected all of our ratings.
Yeah, it does. Because at first I was like, oh, well, obviously, Jackie Chan would go blind after, because I mean, that's a really real thing.
That's a real thing.
You will go blind you can go blind just drinking too much normal alcohol, much less like this industrial grade stuff. So I was like, oh, okay, well, that's like neat. They're gonna like have him adapt to that, but then they pull this, and you're just like, man, like it leaves the movie on such a sour note. And again, it's like 10 seconds of an hour and 42-minute runtime, and you're just like, why is this here?
Why? Like, because they were like, oh, and his brain's gone bad. And it's just like, okay, I mean, yeah, sure, alcohol affects the brain.
Yeah.
But there's no reason to show this.
Yeah,
absolutely no reason.
I mean, it is very like, they making fun of this. Like his eyes are crossed.
He sticks his tongue out and he's making sounds.
Yeah, I mean, oh my god, it's so bad.
We were making jokes like what if Oppenheimer ends with Oppenheimer doing this? Right as the bombs fell.
It would have affected my ranking of Oppenheimer.
Right. Oh, that would have been really bad. So I should explain this ending because we were all curious. Because I remember Cole and Tanner, or all of us, were just asking, like, was this the director's choice? Was this Jackie Chan's choice? And I will go ahead and tell you right now, it was very much Jackie Chan's choice.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because, like I said, he talked about how he wanted to really show, for this film, he wanted to correct the mistakes. He says this, I wanted to correct the mistakes of the first film and show you the implications of alcohol, of too much drinking. And this was what he thought was the best way to do it.
I mean, I see what he was going for. I think he honestly did have good intentions with it.
But
besides this part, I think the good intent was there, but he's like, yeah, we have to show the ill sides of drinking, and if you drink too much, like, this is what happens. And it's just like, I think you leaned into it a little too much.
Is this what really happens, Jackie? Is it?
Like, you could have ended it at, yeah, he's blind now. Or
and he's gonna have long-term damage.
Yeah, like long-term, even like nerve damage, but then they show him and it's like, well, yeah, there he is.
And the thing is too, so when I was looking stuff up about this, because people are all over the internet, like they're like, oh man, I want to see the uncut version. I want to see the OG. Is there any way, or I want to watch more Jackie Chan's films or whatever. And people are talking about, and there's one guy who I read, he's like, oh yeah, you can't really get the it's really hard to find the US version with or it's really hard to find the non-US version with the controversial ending, quote unquote. He was like, personally, I don't see a problem with it. And then immediately somebody was like, why is it considered controversial? And then somebody below that says, oh, because it has Jackie Chan imitating an R-word person. And they thought Disney and Dimension, whenever they're distributing it in the US, they thought it was distasteful, so they cut it. And there's another person that's like I don't know why people are so sensitive about it. It's a joke. It's meant to be comedic. It's not meant to be serious. Blah 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 blah. Even though Jackie Chan himself says, I want to show you what happens after you drink too much, and I want to make sure that people understand that I'm not promoting drinking or whatever. So it's like, it was clearly Jackie Chan being serious. Like that was him being serious.
I do want to say, it probably also is supposed to be played as humorous, because I could see, and again, this is just assumption how people think. I could see Jackie Chan being like, hey, people that do drink too much and this happens to them, it's okay to point and laugh at them because they did it to themselves.
That is true. He could be doing that as well, like trying to basically, he could be, he is doing that. And he probably also could be blending like, well, this is serious, and we also can make it funny.
Yeah.
Like, I also can see it as being ass covering, just saying like, it was serious. If you drink too much, this happens, because not everyone that's like that is that way because they drink.
Well, no, he's not ass covering. He legitimately, because everything that happens in Drunken Master 2, he said like this was like, because this his choices for the film, he did that in 1994, and his biography came out. Like, because there's statements from him, like when he was doing Drunken Master, and like the choices that he made for the filming, like he did them because the first film and what happened in it. That's why everything that happens in this film is the product of that, of whenever, literally his dad getting him, the ending, when he does drink and everybody gets really scared of him, or like they're like, oh shit, he's drinking too much, or like he's just awful when he's drinking. Like that's literally because he realized what he did at Drunken Master 1, so he wanted to make sure that he wasn't promoting over drinking, excessive drinking. So
yeah, because from what I gather from the first one pretty much just shows like, hey, if you drink a bunch, you pretty much become an unkillable god.
Pretty much,
Like, as far as martial arts goes, like there was no ill effect to the drinking in the first one.
That's what he said. There was in that film, they didn't show any ill effects or side effects from that. But in this film, they wanted to show the ill effects of health, of family, and of friends. So that's what happens in this. But I mean,
it's a bad example, if you ask me.
Yeah, like again,
this is not
his intentions probably started good, but also too just like 90s brain being like, well, we have to show him like this, obviously, because this is the only explanation of what could happen if you drink too much.
Well, yeah, no, he made a stupid bad choice. Like, it was just terrible. Like, there's no reason to do that, Like like I mean, yeah, you could show the ill effects of drinking, but this isn't it.
Yeah, I was like, that's not. You could have stopped that. Oh, now we have to teach him blind boxing.
Yeah,
or also maybe just like a bad hangover,
or that.
He's never hungover in the movie. I will say, after he drinks, rewinding for a second, after he drinks the industrial grade alcohol during his fight, his face turns an unnatural shade of like pink, red, purple.
Yeah.
So bad.
So, maybe it's just like your head might explode.
Yeah, that too.
Because it did look like that at some points. That his head was legitimately on the verge of combustion.
No, it looked like that. Yeah. No,
Also,
I mean,
you won't believe what happens at the end of the new John Cena Jackie Chan movie.
Jackie Chan's head explodes.
No, both of them do the exact same thing that Jackie Chan did at the end of this movie.
Oh no!
That would be because it's called Hidden Strike, right?
Yeah.
It's been in. I didn't know this. It's been in development hell for like 5 years.
Oh wow!
And they just dropped it on Netflix. You can
Yeah,
watch
like
it.
there was parts of the movie filmed like pre-COVID, or it might have all been filmed pre-COVID. But yeah, how weird is that?
Now, I will say I haven't looked up anything after because his biography stuff didn't come out till like it didn't come out too long after Drunken Master, I think. But I haven't looked up anything after of him like discussing or talking about like, oh, what do you think of looking back on Legend of the Drunken Master? What do you think about that? Like of the ending and your choices in there. Like I haven't seen anything about that. There probably is stuff. I didn't look into that. So I just wanted to cover solely everything surrounding from this time period or
Yeah.
point. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, no, it was just awful. Like there's just no reason, and also too the cut version that was released in the U.S., the North America, was literally, I think it was I can't fucking find it because everybody puts up the original ending, but from what I understand, it's a really bad cut where I think they just cut to the end right after his fight. I think like right as soon as the fight ends or something, I think that's where they cut. And people, when they first saw it, were just so confused because they're like, what just happened? Like, that's it. Like, it's very abrupt from what I understand.
Yeah, I mean, I could imagine. I mean, I feel that's really the only way cutting that scene out is how you get it. But also, if you cut that scene out, you literally have to without reshoots, you have to end that movie at the conclusion of the fight. So you get like no like resolution. You just get Jackie Chan won, credits, which honestly is kind of neat when you think about it, but also like I could understand being like, well, that leaves something to be desired, I guess.
Yeah, it was yeah. So I just thought it was funny looking into that and looking to people just sounding so stupid.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, also should mention too, Wong Fei Hung was a real martial artist. He was alive in the early 20th century. He died in 1925 at 77 years old. This film does take place in the 1920s, but he's supposed to be very young, so it's not like an actual retelling of his life or anything. It's just I should mention that he was a real martial artist. And I think there actually is a movie, it might be on Criterion, or Criterion's talked about it, where it was made to show more of an accurate depiction of Wong Fei Hung.
Oh, you're telling me this movie wasn't just 1 for 1?
Yeah, no.
Oh no, that's crazy.
Damn.
But I mean, yeah. Does what were our ratings for this film?
4 stars is what I rated it.
Yeah, I also went with 4. I think I was leaning like 4.5 before the ending, and like again, it happened so quick because the whole movie prior up to that, it gives like no inclination like that is what's going to happen, and it's a 90% of the like humor in it lands, the action is sick, and then you just get that, so it does like hurt the rating, but like it's still like a very good movie. But yeah, I'd go 4 out of 5 on it.
Yeah. I went a 4 as well. Literally, the ending happens, and I go down from 4.5 to 4. I'm pretty sure we were all gonna do that 4.5, but that just didn't happen. Yeah. I mean, like, in terms of the I guess the Jackie Chan, like, maybe I don't even know if we can say this because we haven't seen that many, but like, is this a must watch for Jackie Chan fans? Is this a must watch for martial arts fans? What are we thinking right now?
I feel like it is a must watch for like Jackie Chan fans.
Okay.
because it is good. Outside of some bad stuff, but for the most part, it's really good.
I mean,
Okay.
I would say it is. Again, like I said, this does have, just comparing it directly to Police Story, because that's what we watch. It does have my favorite action scene out of those two, and I think for that alone would make it a must watch. But all the action in it is like really, really good. Obviously, but also like the action set pieces in this movie are like fairly long. Like I said, that the one scene we all talked
Yeah.
about is like probably 10 minutes. The final fight is probably like 7 or 8 minutes just of one-on-one. The first scene where we see Jackie Chan drink and fight like the group of the foreigners,
Yeah,
it's
it's
probably
pretty long
like
too.
10 minutes long. So you get some like long action set pieces here. So yeah, I would say it's a must watch. Just know about the ending beforehand, or if you can somehow find the US version, like it's not a great ending, but it's infinitely better than that. So, you know,
I think gosh, I don't, where did we watch it on?
I think we
I rented
rented
it on
it.
YouTube.
Yeah.
YouTube. Okay. Yeah, I don't
So
I
I
don't
don't know
know.
how, outside of, unless you have the actual physical release or could find a torrent of like the US release, I couldn't see any other way, because like I said, we rented it off of YouTube, which you figured would be like the most in demand version, I guess. And it wasn't like there was multiple things that popped up when you search for it.
Yeah, no, it's mostly I mean, real like you probably won't be able to find the cut version. I think now they only have the uncut version, which I mean, like sure, you know, it's the full version in all its glory, I guess. uh yeah, watch that with, I guess, a heavy not heavy, but like slight warning
Yeah.
for
You
that.
can find copies of the DVD on eBay, but I don't know what version is what.
Yeah, too, in the forums, that's what a lot of people were talking about in these forums, where they were trying to get copies of like DVDs of it, because a lot of them, or some of them, are like are cut. Some of them are in a different language, but they're not done, they're not edited properly, or they just don't have any other subs or dubs or whatever. It's a weird like thing. So
Oh.
you can try your luck, I guess.
Well, there's
Hopefully.
currently one on eBay that's still up for, by the time this podcast goes up, will be up for like 6 more hours. Currently has no bid, 95 cents, which is actually cheaper than how much it costs to rent it.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Yippee!
Yeah, so maybe you can test your luck. Why not?
All right. Well, is
Yeah,
that
any final thoughts?
It's just a fun movie.
Jackie
yeah.
Chan knows what he's doing when it comes to action. I know, hot take.
Yeah.
He might not know a little bit about what he's doing when it comes to certain
Yeah, mate.
certain issues.
Yeah, probably doesn't have his finger on the pulse with like societal issues. But as far as kicking and punching, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Is that a show? Is that Summer of Fisting 3?
I think
Yeah, it is.
so.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening to episode 313 of the All You Can Hear podcast. I have been one of your hosts, Tanner. You can follow me on Twitter at Tanner1495. Please follow the podcast. Still right now, best place to follow us on social media is Twitter at AYCH podcast. You can also follow Instagram AYCH podcast, twitch.tv/AYCH podcast, YouTube. Guess what? AYCH podcast. Listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast, all your favorite RSS feed catchers, but you already know that because you're listening and you've made it to the end. But it would be awesome if you could leave us a 5-star rating. That'd be great. And if you feel so inclined, write us a little review. That would also be sick. It'd be really cool, and support us on whatever podcast feed, app, website you use. Got some cool stuff cooking for the Twitch and YouTube that will probably be announced in the next couple of weeks. Still ironing out some final details with that. Follow the podcast on Letterboxd, AYCH podcast. and just be keeping an eye out. Like I said, follow us on Twitter, AYCH Podcast. Best place to follow us. Keep up with everything up to date. But yeah, we have a lot of cool stuff coming up in the next couple of weeks and months, and as we go into 2024. So stay tuned.
Yep.
And my name is Colt. Follow me on Twitter at ColtD00. Have a good day.
Whoa, yeah. Yeah, have a good Monday.
Yeah, it's gonna be Monday. I'm Wenzel. Thank you for listening. You follow me on Twitter at WenzelWilkie. You follow my art Instagram at World of Wenzel. Also follow my threads, World of Wenzel. Follow my Bookstagram, Wenzel Banters. Go check out Backlog, boys.
Yep.
Cool stuff planned, but comes out. That stuff hasn't happened yet, so just be on lookout for us.
Yeah.
We have I have a Goodreads and a letterbox. Go to my link tree. Links for everything is all there. My stuff, not for everybody else's. They all did their own stuff. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, I will mention just one last thing. So the next Summer Fisting will come out in 2 weeks. So August 20th, that'll be Summer Fisting Punch 4. It's Kung Fu Hustle that we're doing as our 2000s movie. But it will be 2 weeks after that. It will be on September 11th when the final one comes out, because Wenzel and I, got our media passes for Sidewalk. So we are fitting in that episode and putting that out in the slot where Summer Fisting Punch 5 was supposed to come out. So Summer Fisting will wrap up before the technical end of summer. So it will just be 1 and 2 weeks from now. And then the one after that will be 5 weeks from now.
Yeah, so I don't want to hear it, all you fucking nerds.
Yeah, we're doing it.
Yeah.
You seasonal nerds.
Yeah.
Oh.
But again, we will technically have it out like the tip of the end of summer. So
Yeah.
All right. Well, any last words?
I love you.
Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Also, don't do it.